person that's about to come join us doesn't really need an introduction, but I will share that Victoria Bach was born in Milton, Ontario. She's a member of the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte First Nation. She played at Boston University for the Terriers. She is a current member of the national program and has won gold in 2021 and 2022 with Team Canada. And she is currently a forward for PWHL Toronto. Have you heard of the PWHL? Do we know they might be pretty good, right? I see your hat. Okay, so I would like for you to give a great big round of applause and welcome Victoria Bach. Hi, Victoria.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. How's everyone doing?
Good. So they're all here to see you. We're all in the right place. Yeah, I had forgotten, so I asked them to remind me, and I think we're good now. Okay, so Victoria, I have some questions for you this morning, and then I'm going to open it up to my friends here to also ask you some questions.
Perfect.
I'll ask you to use what I call my teacher voice, just to make sure that everyone can hear you clearly, just to make sure everyone in the back can hear me. All right, yeah, okay, awesome. Okay, so Victoria, my first question is, can you tell us a bit about your background in hockey from the time that you were small leading up to your time in the PWHL?
Yeah, for sure. So I have had a little bit of a different journey than most of my peers. I grew up playing all different sports. I was playing soccer, lacrosse. I was into track. And I actually didn't start playing hockey till I was 7 years old. Didn't play recreational hockey till I was 8. And did anyone start hockey kind of late here? Raise a hand. Anyone start at like 5, 6?
I was
15. See, that's incredible. I started playing actually after watching Team Canada play in 2002. They won a gold medal at the Olympics, and I remember the day like yesterday. I turned to my parents, my mom and my dad, and I was like, I want to play hockey. I want to be just like these girls. And at the time, my dad was a hockey player. He grew up, he was a pretty good player, and he was kind of like, no, like girls don't play hockey. Like, are you sure? And I remember with some convincing, I was outside every day. I had a stick and I would play it on my driveway, and my dad just saw like how passionate I was for hockey, and I bought some gear and honestly never looked back. I remember growing up, I wasn't the best player. I went through a lot of adversity. Obviously, I'm pretty small, so my size was a big factor and having to work really hard to be able to keep up with my peers. But for me, like one thing that really forced me to play hockey, not forced me, but I really just loved the game of hockey. Like anytime I got to go to the rink and be around, my friends, and when I stepped on the ice, whatever was going on in my life, like nothing else mattered. It was just like me and the ice. And that's honestly something that's really helped motivate me moving forward in my career, and continuing to make it on different teams, and is really just like that passion that I have for the game of hockey and how much fun it is. So that was kind of like the early parts of my journey, and where hockey kind of became a reality for me, and where I was like, wow, maybe I'm gonna make it somewhere in hockey, was actually, I still remember the year like yesterday. It was probably when I was around 9 years old. My dad worked in construction at the time, and he made me like a weighted hockey stick. So he put a weight down the shaft of my stick, and he told me, he's like, every day you got to shoot like 50 shots. And I was like, Dad, I don't want to do that. It's kind of boring. Like, and he's like, do it. Trust me, it'll pay off. And every day in the summer, I was shooting those air shots, and come tryouts in September, I remember stepping on the ice, and I skated all the way down the ice, and I just remember shooting a wrist shot, and it went like top corner over the goalie's shoulder. And I was like, wow, like it was so cool to see all that hard work pay off. And that's when I made my first rep team, got my first tracksuit. Anyone remember getting their first like rep tracksuit? I think that was like the thing I was most excited about, honestly, getting that tracksuit. And then from there, honestly, I started to make more rep teams and really was enjoying hockey. And my bantam year of hockey, I actually got called up to go play with the junior team. So at the time, in Ontario, that's like the highest level you can go before university. I was this young kid. I still had a pink stick at the time. I had pink laces. My nickname was Pinky. And I remember going up with the juniors, and these girls were all in high school, and I was just this kid, and I was just going into grade 9, and I ended up doing really well up there. And the following year, I skipped my midget year of hockey, and I went and I played junior hockey with them, and had some success there, and went on to university where I got the chance to get scouted by a bunch of different schools. And that was something for me that was really special. I was the first person in my immediate family to go to university and get the chance to get an education. So for us, it was such a special moment. And to be able to go to university to play hockey was such a cool experience. And I'm saying this because there's so many amazing opportunities for all of you to continue hockey once you're done high school, and to get the chance to play at a university. For me, I went to Boston University, get the chance to play in a beautiful, look at this arena, it's so incredible. So many incredible opportunities. So I spent 4 years at Boston University, and while I was there, I got the chance to play with Team Canada. So I was playing with the national team I've been on the team for about 8 years now. So it's been quite some time with them, and got the chance to play at some world championships, win some gold medals. And now, honestly, the most special thing is being a part of our first ever professional women's hockey league. So that's something that honestly, I can't even put into words how excited I am to have created this now professional league that all of you hopefully can dream to play in one day. And I think by time you're my age, it's gonna be so special. You're gonna be able to be a pro hockey player as your full-time job. It's incredible. So just to see the journey and how far we've come with women in sport, and I think it's gonna continue to grow. It's really cool. There's a lot in store for all of you, and yeah, just set big dreams, and hopefully one day I'll see some PWHL players. Yeah.
I'm gonna follow up on that. So first, before I forget, Victoria did bring her 2 gold medals to show you afterwards. But the other thing that I want to say is that we do have some Nova Scotians in the PWHL. Does anyone know who they are? Yeah. Jill Saunier and Blair Turnbull. You've got both of them. Was that who you were going to say too? What about people coaching in the PWHL from Nova Scotia? Do we know any? Oh, Carly Jackson too. Thank you. Go ahead.
My teammate.
Troy Ryan. Who else? Corey Chevry. Is that who everyone else was gonna say? Oh, Allie Monroe. That's right. Very good.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else from Nova Scotia or the Maritimes that you can think of? I say you got most. Oh yeah, Marlène Boissonneau, of course, the goaltender. There we go. Yeah. So, and you might not have known, but one of Victoria's really good friends played right here at St. Mary. Do you know who that might be? Would you like to tell them who it is?
Siobhan Birch.
So Bertie was one of my students and graduated in the last couple of years, I think. So she did an undergrad here and an MBA. And went on to be on a practice roster in the PHF, if I'm not mistaken, for Toronto.
Yeah.
So I think that you're in a really great place if you want to be a women's hockey player. I think that there are some pathways for you that other women and girls are lighting up. And I think that's really cool because up until I was 12, I didn't really have much for girls and women who could be my role models. So I hope you know that you're growing up and you're playing in a special time. Okay, next, tell me what a normal week looks like for you as a PWHL player.
So a normal week, we're usually at the rink every day, Monday to Friday. It's pretty long days. Like I get to the rink around 9:30, 10, and we'll probably stay until around 4 p.m. So what that entails is like we'll get there, and every morning we have breakfast as a team, which is really nice. And then after breakfast, we usually have time for like treatment. We have massage therapists, physiotherapists. So if anything's bothering you, you have the opportunity to go get worked on by the trainers. And then from there, we'll usually have our team practice. We'll practice for an hour and a half usually. So a pretty long time. After that, there's opportunities for you to stay on the ice. You can work on like little things like your shot, work on your skills. From there, we'll go to like a team workout. And after our team workout, we usually always have a team lunch again together. So that's kind of what our day looks like. And then sometimes we'll be traveling, so we'll have games on a weekday. So if we have games on like a Wednesday, say, we'll usually always leave Monday night. So like 2 days before a game, we'll travel as a team and get to the rink, usually practice, kind of get familiar with the ice, and then play usually in our games. And then we usually have games on weekends as well.
What do you do during the time off?
During my time off, I really enjoy honestly spending time with family, spending time with friends. Our year gets pretty busy. Like, there's a lot of games in the season now, and then obviously training, you get pretty exhausted. So I think for me, it's just taking that time to focus on what I need personally and kind of just disconnecting and refreshing. I think that's one of the most important things, especially with hockey. A lot of times it can get pretty stressful. So just making sure that you find time to do things that make you happy when you're away from the rink, and then when you're at the rink, obviously it's go time, it's your job, so you want to be able to perform at your best.
I like that advice. Okay, this is gonna put you on the spot a little bit, but can you tell me about one of your most memorable moments or your best memories playing hockey?
Best memories. Okay, so I have a few, so it's hard to narrow down just one.
We have a bit of time.
So I would say, so growing up for me, like I grew up in like a small town, and I remember going to the rink and like getting changed in like a first aid locker room, or like getting changed in janitor rooms, and being one of the only girls at the entire rink. And I remember like I would always hear comments from the boys like, why is there a girl out here? Like little things like that. And then also like I remember growing up through middle school and having teachers. One of my best friends, he played AAA hockey, and I still remember to this day like going into school, and we were playing in the same tournament on Friday. And I remember he went and told our teacher, he's like, look, I have a tournament. She was all excited, asking him who he's going to be playing, all this stuff. And then I told her I was in the same tournament. She's like, well, you got to make sure you like stay on top of your schoolwork and all that stuff. Like make sure your parents send me an email. And so for me, like that was just the reality at the time. Like people didn't think anything of women's hockey. And she was like stressing like, well, you're missing school for hockey, like kind of questioning it. And so I think a big moment for me, obviously, like growing up in hockey, is now being able to go back to the rinks and where I grew up and seeing designated rinks for women's hockey. Like I know my hometown where I grew up skating, now there's a full locker room built just for girls. And I think that's something for me that's like so special, being able to see that and seeing the growth in women's hockey and how many girls are enrolling in hockey. I think girls hockey is the fastest growing sport right now. And so that's probably like a big moment for me, going back to where it kind of all started and just seeing the growth and how many teams are now involved, girls teams are now involved at every level. And I would say a big moment for me throughout my hockey career was the first time getting the chance to put on the Team Canada jersey. Obviously that's why I started playing hockey. I wanted to play on Team Canada, and getting the chance to put on that maple leaf for the first time, it's like not only a dream come true for me, but just to know all the sacrifice that my parents have put, like my dad working 2 jobs to be able to afford to put me in hockey, like things like that all kind of comes full circle. And it's just so special to put on that jersey and get the chance to have my dreams come true. And lastly, I would have to say the biggest one is our recent PWHL inaugural draft. Just seeing the amount of work that's been put in by the generation before us, and all the women that really paved the way. I think this league is creating so many opportunities, obviously for us as players, but for women in general, women getting the chance to be in leadership roles, and whether they're not playing in the league, but they're coaching in the league, they're a staff member in the league, it's opening up so many doors, so many opportunities for women. So I'm just really excited to see where it goes, but that truly was a special moment for me. And most recently we played at Scotiabank Arena. I don't know if anyone watched that game where the Toronto Maple Leafs play. For me, that was just like so emotional, such a great event. I grew up in that area, so going to watch the Maple Leafs and to be able to see that we had a sold out crowd of 19,000, and just looking up in the stands, seeing all the young girls with signs, and that kind of was the moment for me where I was like, wow, like this is incredible. And just seeing what we created. And then after the game, seeing my dad, and he like gave me a big hug, and he's like, never would I have thought my girl would be playing pro hockey. So that's probably one of my like favorite memories that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Oh, God. Just to give everyone an idea of where we're at for time, I'm gonna ask one more of my questions, and then we're gonna open it up to your questions. And after that, we're going to have Victoria pick a name for that game used signed stick as well. So we're moving through. We're getting to the stick. All right. So my last question then is, what advice do you have for the young folks in the room who would like to follow your footsteps?
My best words of advice I could give you, never let someone tell you that you can't do something. I think for me that like growing up, like I mentioned, like a lot of people said comments to me about like, oh, girls don't really play hockey, like, oh, like you'll never go anywhere in hockey, those type of comments that you hear throughout your career. And I think it's really important to like believe in yourself and have confidence. I know for me, like I believed in myself, and the confidence came from like preparation and knowing that like I put in the work. At the end of the day, if you work really hard, like every time you get the chance to step on the ice is a new opportunity to get better. And if you work really hard, you're going to believe in yourself, and you're going to have a lot of confidence in yourself. And at the end of the day, you'll never have any regrets. That's like a big thing for me, is making sure that like at the end of the day, I did everything I could, to whether it's you're trying to make a team, or you're trying to, you know, whether it's not in hockey, it's anything in life. I think really important to always give it your all. But most importantly, have fun. We all play hockey because we love it and it's super fun. And at the end of the day, when you're done playing hockey, it's all those memories, the friendships. I still have my best friend from when I started playing hockey when I was 8 years old. We still hang out like once a month, regardless of how busy we are. So it's those friendships and those memories that you're honestly going to remember for the rest of your life. So enjoy it all, because it goes by quick, and just make the most of every opportunity that you get, and have so much fun doing it. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Okay, so first I want to thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
All right, I'm just gonna check the time. Okay, so we have about 14 minutes for questions. So what I'll do is ask you to raise your hand, and I'm also going to ask Julie to help me keep track of who's in what order, just in case I'm struggling. But so go ahead. Who would like to get us started?
Ask away, don't be shy.
East Coast lifestyle. Oh.
Great question. Pre-game routine. I'm not like too superstitious, but I guess I kind of am, because I have the same routine every game. I usually like to wake up. We always have like a pre-game skate. So if we're playing at like 7 p.m., we'll have free ice. So we'll get to go around. I'll like shoot some pucks and just kind of like feel the puck. So I'll usually do that. I'll go on the ice for like 30 minutes. Then I usually get off. We'll go for like a walk. And then I always take a nap before a game. Yeah, I'm a big napper. So I'll take a nap, and then I'll usually like to get like a coffee. We'll go to a coffee shop. And then I like to tape my stick usually like on the bench, kind of see the ice before the game. And then I always have to have a Gatorade before every game. It's like my superstition. Usually a blue Gatorade, but I've kind of grown to learn that if there's no blue, I'll have any color Gatorade. But yeah, so usually a Gatorade before every game. And that's all really. I like to keep it light. I like to have fun. We play spike ball. Has anyone ever played spike ball? Yeah, it gets pretty competitive with our team. So we always have a good spike ball game before we go on the ice. Yeah.
Anybody else over here?
Ooh, favorite pregame meal would have to be, I would say just like the classic chicken, pasta, some broccoli. Yeah, and I like smoothies before a game. I always have a smoothie.
Go ahead, and then over. Okay, so I've got here and then here.
Ooh, great question. Growing up, obviously, like I only got to see like women play on TV every 4 years at the Olympics. So for me, like I always idolized like the Sidney Crosbys growing up, like watching those players come up in their rankings. But from a female perspective, I think like Haley Winkenizer was probably one of my favorite players. Just seeing like how amazing of a player she was and like what she's done for the women's game. I really looked up to her, and I actually have a cool story about Haley. In 2022, I got the chance to live in her house with Natalie Spooner and Ella Shelton, for Olympic centralization. So to live in her house and like get to see all of her memorabilia and medals and stuff, like it was so cool. So she's probably like my favorite role model growing up.
Here, right?
The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh,
Yeah. What's yours? Oilers?
See, there's a better choice.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, right over here.
My best friend on the Toronto team. Ooh, that's a hard one. There's so many amazing people, but I have to go with Kristen Campbell, the goalie. Yeah, she's been my bestie for a while, so yeah. Goalies.
Anybody else?
I know the new league is still new, but do you consider that you have a rival yet? Like, your team have a rival?
Oh yeah. We go at it with Montreal, I would say. That's probably as of now our biggest rivals. Every game is pretty physical, and I would say Montreal for sure right now. Yeah.
Take time off during summer, no hockey at all, to play other sports.
Yeah, I would say like, so for the summer, that's usually like our big off season, like our time to get in the gym and like lift weights and get strong and kind of just like reset. But yeah, we usually take like a good month in the summer, like beginning of summer, to kind of recoup and rest your body, give your body the rest it needs. I think rest is really important, especially after a long season, and especially for like you young girls, like getting a chance to play other sports, I think is so important growing up. Teaches you so many skills. And I know I was really big into soccer. Like I played till I was around 16. So soccer really helped with hockey, like the speed and endurance aspect of it. So really important to play all sports.
Does anyone else play soccer? Lot? Yeah.
Fun
Okay,
sport.
all right. Did you have a question? I saw your hand shoot up.
What is your most memorable goal?
Ooh, great question. I'd probably have to say my most memorable goal would have been one of the first times I was playing with Team Canada. It was actually Troy Ryan's first win as our head coach. We were playing the USA in Victoria. And I remember we went into overtime, and I remember I got like a tap on my shoulder. I was like, oh, I'm going out in overtime. I was like this rookie on the team, and he's like, yeah, like my bets are on you. So I went out in overtime, and I actually went on a 2-on-1 with Blair Turnbull, and she made me a really nice pass, and I ended up scoring, and it was just really cool. It was in front of like 9,000 people in Victoria. So they were like, Victoria and Victoria. That was probably one of my favorite goals. And I remember my parents were at the game, and my mom had no idea I scored. She didn't even know until I came up, and I was like, oh yeah. She's like, it was so electric in there. She just kind of stood up and saw that we scored. So it's probably my favorite memory.
Anybody else? I see a little hand right there.
How did I get into the PWHL? So actually, it was quite a long like journey and process for all of us. We actually started in 2020. We created the PWHPA. I don't know if any of you seen any. There was a couple showcase tournaments actually in Halifax and Truro, and then so basically what we were doing is we were traveling to different markets throughout North America and just doing showcase tournaments. So I did that for about 3 years. I was a part of that, basically just trying to get people, like get visibility, get people to watch us play and showcase what we have. So I did that for 3 years, and then finally this year we created our first ever league. So I was already kind of involved with the PWHPA. So then I was eligible for the draft, and then I ended up getting drafted to Toronto. So it was a long process and a long journey, but yeah, it was worth it. It's awesome.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
I love these questions.
Oh, these are
That's
good
a
questions.
great question. My favorite rink to play in. I would probably have to say where I went to university, Walter Brown Arena. Obviously spent 4 years there, so it was a long time, but we had a band when I was at university, and they would play at every game, and they would like basically take up the whole one side of the arena. So that was just so special getting to play there every day and play in front of our fans. Probably my favorite arena. Yeah. Good question.
Go ahead.
My favorite team to play in our league. Ooh, I feel like every team is so good. It's like every game is a really, really hard game. I'd probably have to say I like playing against Montreal because I said we got a little rival going on. I have a lot of good friends on that team. Yeah, it always feels good to get one by Anne Renee.
You have a big game against Montreal coming up in a week.
Yeah,
On the
we do on
21st?
Saturday.
Is anyone
next Saturday.
traveling to that?
At the Bell
Smack in the
Center?
middle of spring hockey for a lot of you, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, very exciting.
Is it a good game?
Did you have a question? Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, you got a sweater on. Nice. That's awesome.
Go right ahead.
How does it feel playing against your friends?
That's a great question. So like obviously playing like with the national team for a couple years, there's a lot of players that, you know, I became my family, like my best friends, and I'm actually playing against them. So it's kind of funny because I remember like one of the first games I was playing against one of my really good friends on the other team, and Kristen O'Neill, she plays on Montreal, and I remember we kind of went into the corner and we kind of like both just like hit each other, and then after I was like, oh my goodness, that was Kristen, like one of my good friends. But once you're like on the ice, like it's game time. Like this is our job now, so friends aside, and then obviously once you get off the ice, you know, you chat about it. It's kind of funny, like after the fact, you're like, sorry for hitting you, and yeah, you kind of just let it go. But it's definitely like an experience playing against your friends, and it's pretty cool.
I have time for 2 more questions, so I'm gonna take these 2. I'm gonna start here and then the second row.
Ooh, hobbies other than hockey. Yeah, actually. I really enjoy, like I grew up like water skiing. So that's something I really enjoy in the summers, like going to the lake and getting the chance to go water skiing. I like love it. That's probably one of my big hobbies, and golf. I recently got into golf and like I love it so much. It's really fun sport. Similar to hockey, but different at the same time.
I would argue more frustrating.
More frustrating for
Go
sure.
right ahead.
Like, like Toronto. What do you think yours is?
Oh.
That's a great
Oh.
question. It's actually funny because we're currently trying to figure that out right now, like as a group, because we don't know what it's gonna be yet. But there's definitely some ideas in mind, but I'm pretty open. I think our jerseys right now, obviously, like we created this league really quick. This is the first year, so it won't be like that forever. But I think it's actually really special. Like I really like our jerseys this year, although it just says Toronto. I think there's a lot behind it. Obviously for me, like growing up close to Toronto, and it's pretty special to put on that jersey. And even though it just says Toronto, I know a lot of fans are wanting to find out what our new logo and name will be, but we actually don't know yet. So I'm trying to think of things. Any suggestions from you girls would be good too.
Okay, I am going to ask Ashley Penny to come up. And Victoria is going to pick a name for that stick.
Okay, I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, but is it Baron? Congrats. Are you a lefty or righty? Oh, nice.
Did you want to grab a photo
wanna grab a
together?
photo?
Yeah.
Awesome. Congrats.
All right, Victoria, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us. Can we get a round of applause?
Nice. I just like to say one thing. Yeah. I just want to thank you for having me. Obviously, like I've been in all of your shoes as hockey players, and like growing up playing hockey, and I just, if you ever need anything, like I'm always around. I've been through it, and yeah, I really appreciate you having me. I'm really excited. Thank you for all the amazing questions too. Those were great, and just want to wish you all the best of luck. Work hard and have fun and dream big. So thank you.
Okay.